The man boarded last. Not because he was late, but because he waited. He stood just outside the aircraft door, adjusting the cuff of his charcoal gray suit, breathing once, slow and steady, before stepping inside. The cabin smelled like polished leather and recycled air, the kind that always reminded him of meetings that went too long and conversations that never said what they meant. VIP section. Seat 2A. He handed his boarding pass to the attendant with a soft smile. She barely looked at his face. Her eyes dropped immediately to the paper. First sign. She scanned it twice. Her brows tightened, not in confusion, but in disbelief. The kind that didn't need words. "Sir," she said carefully, her voice smooth but cold underneath, "are you sure this is your seat?" He nodded once. Calm. Polite. "Yes, ma'am." She hesitated, then forced a smile. "Please, just wait here for a moment." That was the second sign. Other passengers were already seated. White men in tailored jackets, a woman with diamonds at her ears, a younger couple whispering excitedly while sipping champagne handed out freely. No one else had been asked to wait. He stepped aside without protest. He had learned long ago that arguing early only made things worse. Minutes passed. A second attendant arrived. Then a third. Their eyes moved over him the same way, suit first, skin second, judgment last. Finally, the senior attendant spoke. "Sir, there seems to be a mix-up." He smiled faintly. "That's unfortunate." She cleared her throat. "This seat is reserved for our VIP guests." He looked past her, down the aisle, at seat 2A. His seat. A folded blanket. A glass of champagne already poured. "I am a VIP guest," he said quietly. She laughed. Not loudly. Not cruelly. But enough. "Sir," she said, lowering her voice as if he were a child, "let's not make this difficult. If you'll just step back into economy, we'll sort this out after takeoff." The word economy landed heavy. He felt it, that familiar tightening. In his chest. The one that came from years of being told, without being told, where he belonged. "I paid for that seat," he replied. Her smile vanished. "That seat," she said, glancing behind her, "is needed for another guest." A white man appeared behind them, mid-50s, expensive watch, annoyed expression. "What's the delay?" he snapped. The attendant straightened instantly. "This gentleman is confused about his seating." The man's eyes scanned him. Lingering. Then he scoffed. "Isn't this first class?" Silence followed. Every head nearby turned. The black man felt heat rise in his neck, not anger, not yet, but humiliation. The kind that burns slowly, quietly, without smoke. "Yes," he said calmly. "It is." The white man snorted. "Then why is he here?" No one corrected him. No one defended him. The attendant shifted closer to the white man, physically placing herself between them, as if protecting him. "Sir," she said to the black man, her tone now sharp, "I'm going to have to ask you to move." A pause. "I won't," he said. Gasps. Subtle. Shocked. "You're holding up the flight," she snapped. He looked around the cabin. Some passengers stared at their laps. Some watched with thin smiles. One older woman looked ashamed, eyes wet, hands clenched. He spoke softly, but clearly. "I'm not holding anything up. I'm sitting in the seat I purchased." The attendant's face hardened. "This is not a discussion." She leaned closer. Too close. "You don't belong here." There it was. He closed his eyes for half a second. Just one. Memories rushed in: boardrooms where he was mistaken for security, meetings where his title was ignored, restaurants where menus never came. He opened his eyes again. Still calm. "Please," he said, "check the system." She exhaled sharply, annoyed. "I don't need to." She turned and waved another crew member over. We have a problem passenger. Problem. The word echoed. 2 seats away, a young man whispered to his partner, "Is this really happening?" The white guest crossed his arms. Smirking. "Unbelievable," he muttered. "I pay good money for this." The black man finally stood. Not aggressively. Not suddenly. He stood the way someone does when they are done being reduced. "I'll step aside," he said. The attendant smiled, victorious. "But," he continued, reaching into his jacket, "before I do, I'd like you to call HR." Her smile froze. "Excuse me?" "Human resources," he repeated. "Corporate." She laughed again. "This is an airplane, sir." "Yes," he said gently. "And this airline works for my company." The laughter died. The white man scoffed. "Oh, come on." The black man looked at him, not with anger, not with pride, but with something heavier. Pity. "I suggest," he said quietly, "you make that call." The cabin fell into a silence so thick it felt physical. The attendant swallowed. She looked at his face again. Really looked. And for the first time since he boarded, doubt crept in. Her hand trembled slightly as she reached for the intercom. The intercom crackled softly in the senior attendant's hand. She hadn't meant to press it yet. Her thumb hovered there, suspended between certainty and fear. Around them, the cabin no longer buzzed with casual impatience. It held its breath. The black man stepped aside just enough to clear the aisle, but he didn't move toward economy. He stood where everyone could still see him. Shoulders relaxed. Hands loosely folded in front of him. Calm in a way that unsettled people more than anger ever could. The white passenger rolled his eyes. "This is ridiculous," he muttered loudly. "If he wants attention, give it to him somewhere else." No one laughed this time. The attendant forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Sir, please wait near the galley while we handle this." "I'll wait right here," the man replied. His voice was steady. "I've waited my whole life." That sentence landed differently. A younger flight attendant, barely out of training, eyes wide, shifted uncomfortably. She had been silent until now, but something about this moment made her speak. "Ma'am," she whispered to the senior attendant, "maybe we should just verify." "Enough," the senior snapped under her breath. "Don't undermine me." She turned back toward the intercom and pressed the button. "Captain," she said, masking the tremor in her voice, "we have a seating issue in VIP. Requesting guidance." The response came quickly. "Hold position," the captain replied. "Contact corporate support." The words corporate support rippled through the air. The black man closed his eyes again, this time not from pain, but from exhaustion. Not the physical kind. The kind that came from knowing exactly how this would play out, and still having to live through it. The attendant dialed. Her tone changed instantly, sweeter, deferential. "Yes, hello. This is Senior Cabin Crew Lead on Flight 482. We have a passenger claiming a VIP seat that appears inconsistent with." She paused. Her face shifted. "His name," she repeated. The man spoke before she could. "Daniel Wright." She repeated it into the phone. Her spine stiffened. She listened. Swallowed. "I see," she said. Yes, of course." She glanced at him again. Longer this time. No smile. No smirk. Just calculation. The white passenger leaned forward. "Well." She held up a finger to silence him unconsciously. The power dynamic had begun to change. "Yes," she continued into the phone, voice quieter now. "Understood. We'll remain grounded." The word grounded sent murmurs across the cabin. A man across the aisle frowned. "Why aren't we moving?" The older woman who had looked ashamed earlier clasped her hands together tightly, eyes never leaving Daniel. The call ended. The attendant lowered the phone slowly. For a moment, no one spoke. Then she cleared her throat. "Sir," she said, and for the first time, she said it without contempt, "could you please confirm your affiliation with the airline?" Daniel looked at her kindly. "I could," he said. "But you already know." Her jaw tightened. The white passenger laughed nervously. "This is absurd. Anyone can claim anything." Daniel turned to him. "Do you know," he asked softly, "how many times I've heard that?" The man scoffed, but his confidence wavered. Daniel continued, not raising his voice. "Every time I earn something people didn't expect me to have. Education. Respect. Authority. Space." He gestured lightly around the cabin. "Even this." The younger attendant looked like she might cry. The senior attendant stiffened. "Sir, corporate is reviewing the matter." "Good," Daniel said. "They'll find everything." Her eyes flickered. "Everything?" "Yes." A chill moved through her. She tried to recover. "You'll need to take a seat elsewhere while this is sorted." Daniel shook his head gently. "No," he said. "I won't." The white passenger exploded. "This is unbelievable. Are you really delaying an entire flight for him?" Daniel turned slowly, meeting his eyes. "No," he said. "You're witnessing accountability catch up." The cabin went silent again. Minutes passed. Then 10. Then 15. No takeoff. No announcements. Finally, the intercom chimed again, sharper this time. "Senior crew lead," the captain said, voice tight, "corporate HR will be joining the call. Put them on speaker." Her face drained of color. She hesitated. Then obeyed. A woman's voice filled the cabin, calm, precise, unmistakably authoritative. "This is human resources." Every spine straightened. "Is Daniel right on this flight?" Daniel spoke before anyone else could. "I'm here." A pause. Then warmth. "Mr. Wright," the voice said, "thank you for your patience." The word patience hit hard. Passengers exchanged looks. The senior attendant felt her knees weaken. The HR representative continued. "We've reviewed the footage from the cabin cameras. We've reviewed the passenger manifest. We've reviewed prior incident reports." The senior attendant's breath hitched. "Multiple prior reports," HR added. "With similar patterns." Daniel closed his eyes. Not in triumph. In sadness. The HR voice sharpened. "To the cabin crew involved, please remain where you are." The white passenger leaned back slowly, confusion replacing arrogance. "What's going on?" he whispered. Daniel didn't answer. The HR representative spoke again. "Mr. Wright is not only entitled to that seat. He is the airline's largest corporate partner, a board advisor, and the individual who personally approved the expansion budget that funds this route." Gasps rippled. The white man's face went pale. The senior attendant's mouth opened, but no sound came out. "And more importantly," HR continued, "he is a human being who was publicly humiliated." Silence. The kind that humbles. The HR voice lowered. "Effective immediately." The senior cabin crew and all directly involved staff are terminated for violation of company policy and repeated discriminatory conduct. The words echoed like thunder. Terminated. The younger attendant sobbed quietly. The senior attendant stared at the floor, hollow. The white passenger shrank into his seat, suddenly small. Daniel exhaled slowly. Not relief. Grief. "For the record," he said softly into the speaker, "I didn't ask for this." HR responded gently. "But it was necessary." The captain's voice returned, heavy. Mr. Wright, would you like us to proceed? Daniel looked around the cabin. At the faces. At the silence. Yes, he said. Let's go.